Hey guys, it's me, Dash from Broad Culture here, and of course, I gave an intro video on this new series. This is a brief history of. Now, like I said, I can't go intricate into this. Can't go with what exactly happened, dive into why everything happened, or like the backgrounds into songs. I can only really give the chronology of albums and major events that were going on to why, or like where the band or musical group was, or how they came to be this way. I can't go into why songs are or when singles were exactly released. If you want to do that, if you want to know that, there's a thing called the internet. I'm here to give a brief history. So without further ado, everybody saw this coming, mainly everyone in the channel. But today, our first episode will be a brief history of Shinedown. Now, of course, Shinedown, their current lineup is Brent Smith on vocals, Zach Myers on guitar, Eric Bass on bass, and Barry Kirch on drums. Now, it wasn't always this way. And to find out how it was not always this way, we got to span it all the way back to the late 90s. Now, of course, as Brent Smith was a child and a teenager, he always loved music. And he wanted to chase music. So in the late 90s, he found himself working with Atlantic Records. Now, at first he was doing solo, and then he was part of a short-lived project called Dream, which was a lot more angsty and post-grunge. Be it may you will. That made no sense. But after Dream, he ended up signing a developmental deal in 2001 with Atlantic Records to make a band. And this is how Shinedown formed in Jacksonville, Florida. And along for the ride with Brent Smith was, of course, Barry Kirch on drums, Jason Todd on guitar, and Brad Stewart on bass. And of course, currently, Brent and Barry are the two sole original members. Moving on. So then in 2003, they released their debut album, Leave a Whisper. Now, some people in the execs didn't put much faith into the band, which they went on to claim things like, this band will be lucky to sell 50 albums. Well, it sold way more than that. And it's gone on to be gold certification. And it's won many great singles, like 45, and of course, their really, really famous cover, Simple Man. And it's still widely regarded as one of the great covers made of all time. Because people just love it. And moving on into 2005, we come to the release of the album Shed Some Light. Now this one was very troublesome, and this was only the sophomore effort. See, can they do it again? The thing was, they managed to, but in comparison to all the other albums they've ever released, this one is seen as one of the least favorite albums. Now, this could be because, due to a lot of the troubles occurring behind the scenes, they really had stuff going on. Now, this album, Shed Some Light, had some great singles too, like Heroes, Save Me, I Dare You. And what happened was Jason and Brent went deeper into their drug addictions. Yeah, Brent was addicted to cocaine and pills. And so that created some turbulence in the band. And there was also some creative difference and whatnot between the band and Brad Stewart. So before the release of Sound of Madness, which it was like around 2006, give or take, that's when Brad left. Brad left the band, and then they brought in Zach Myers to fill in for all the bass work. So that was the lineup then. In 2007, whenever they started putting some work into Sound of Madness, Jason left for some creative reasons, and he wanted to get out. So then, they're starting to work the three-piece. Well, they brought in Nick Perry. Nick Perry wanted to be a part of a band, and he helped them out a bit. And they started working on stuff. And then whenever suddenly they were working on a new single, they ran into Eric Bass, because Eric Bass is also a music producer, and he's helped Shinedown make many number one singles. When they ran into him, Eric decided he was going to join the band. And so it moved things to Eric on bass, Zach on rhythm guitar, and Nick on a lead guitar. And that goes into increased development of The Sound of Madness, which is regarded as one of their best albums, where some people tend to live in the past. AKA those fans who keep crying about wanting more Sound of Madness. Ugh. Anyways, so there was that lineup. And their first single was Devour, which had Nick in it, but you really didn't get to see much of Nick's face. After that, Nick Perry left for reasons unknown. Maybe he just wanted to do more projects or didn't want to commit fully to the band. And this is when the band started to explode in 2008 when they released Sound of Madness. They mainly just exploded thanks to Sound of Madness and Second Chance. So that really brought everything up. And then they started working more as a four-piece, and it helped things get better. Then in 2012, they released their fourth album, Amaryllis. That one was one of their first records to be number one on several different charts at the same time. And this one highlighted their wanting to make their own sound and move in different directions. Some people didn't like this, but overall it worked well, and it's one of the albums that went platinum. And it spawned great singles like Bully, Enemies, Unity, I'll Follow You, and that was that. And suddenly 2015 was another moment of turbulence for the band. When they released Strict Survival, a lot of people kind of didn't like the direction of this album, while it was still a little bit well received by fans. But there was also turbulence among the members. Eric was handling depression, there was a lot of anger floating around, and while Brent had been off drugs since the production days of Amaryllis, he still had the food addiction from since Sound of Madness. And Amaryllis, they had to work on that. And he had to deal with former drug addiction, former food addiction, former alcoholism. And this, he wasn't completely sober, but it was because making albums are stressful. And they had to deal with this. And it was just mainly that there are different things going on in each member's lives that just caused some sort of turbulence. And then the magic started happening in 2017. In 2017, Shinedown announced that they were going to be working on their new album, which they said was going to be based on some of this music that Eric had been working on while they were on their tour in 2016 and a bit of 2017. And as the story goes, in 2017, the first song they worked on for this new album was Get Up. And with Get Up, it suddenly spawned the concept, because Get Up was first talking to Eric specifically, because Brent has a huge heart. And then they spawned a concept about mental health as an album. And so they started getting to work on that. And with this, especially with forming a new attitude, the band is stronger than they've ever been. And they're able to form a much better chemistry and deeper respect for each other. So in 2018, they released Attention, Attention with great hits like Devil, Get Up, Monsters, Black Soul, etc. And that was released in May of 2018. It's a great album. So nowadays, of course, the band is supporting Attention, Attention as this is 2019. But overall, they had many unrivaled feats, and they have beaten records that not many people get to see. They have one of the most devoted fan bases that a band could have. They're the only band with every one of their singles that they've released in history that has gone on to reach the uppermost regions of the mainstream rock charts. Now, currently, their single at the time of this recording is Monsters, and that's still climbing. we have yet to see its peak, because it's only been on the charts for a short time. Anyways, plus recently they had broken the record for most rock radio airplay, which was formerly held by the Foo Fighters. Of course, you can always check out Shinedown nowadays, look at their evolution. It's really amazing. And it's amazing what they've done, what they've accomplished, and the music that they made. And they're still one of the most humble sets of musicians ever, as they really do love their fan base. And they never take it for granted. And I know this from experience. Yeah, that was a brief history of Shinedown. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share and subscribe. I'm Dash from Broad Culture. See you later.